Hey guys, I'm back. I'm sure you guys have seen my video for 2025 Baitcast combos for bottom contact baits. If you haven't, go back and check that out. But today we're really getting hot and heavy in it. It's my 2025 Baitcast combos for moving baits. And everyone I'm talking about is only used for moving baits, not any form of bottom contact. So let's start. So first here is the same rod twice. And the first one is, these are all Dobyns Champion rods. This is Dobyns Champion XP 734 split grip on a Abu Garcia Revo SX. This is my dedicated spinnerbait rod, 7.3 to 1. I think that's a really good gear ratio for spinnerbaits, whether I'm slow rooter rolling one during the summer on the bottom in the after dark, or just a standard, double willow, whatever I'm throwing. This is perfect for that. And it also can double as rod for the next one I'm about to talk about. So the next rod, real combo, is also a Dobyns Champion XP 734 split grip on a Revo STX 6.7 to 1 gear ratio, a little slower, because for this is my dedicated chatterbait rod. In my opinion, I think 6.7 to 1 is the perfect gear ratio for chatterbaits. When I'm working a chatterbait, I want that going just fast enough to get that blade to chatter. The fish aren't overly active. I'm a person who can easily speed up if I have to. I know some people have more trouble slowing down, or more trouble speeding up than slowing down, and are the opposite of that. So that may be why they will run a little faster gear ratio reel. But for me, 6.71 is perfect. If have some aggressive fish, I can work a little faster. Just do a rise or jerk up and let that bait roll fast. But like I said, these two rods kind of coexist together. My spinnerbait rod can be my second chatterbait rod if they're really hitting chatterbaits, and my chatterbait rod can be a second spinnerbait rod if they're really hitting spinnerbaits. Both spooled up with 15-pound Seaguar Invictus fluorocarbon. I'm almost exclusively throwing half ounce on the river, sometimes 3/8 of an ounce if I'm in really shallow water. And I'm also probably going to try the Megabass Mag Draft on this year, the 5-inch version. It's either going to be on this or my DC 735, which you guys saw in the bottom contact video. But spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, in my opinion, under $300, you will not find a better rod on the market across all brands, and I'm saying that. So right there we go. Next on the list, this is a little bit of a specialized rod. This is my DC 704 CB Glass. Now, real quick, before I get into that, let me just go back over these 734s quick here. They kind of have a nice standard fast action. They have a little bit of give in the tip, but pretty good backbone. Like, I have fish jigs on these, can get away with it, but it's that perfect amount of a little bit of bend, for letting them get the bait, but it still has that backbone because it's single hook baits. So for me, those rods are perfect for any single hooked moving baits. You can also throw buzz bait or a swim jig on as well. But sorry about that. Back to the DC 704 CB Glass. This is exclusively a rod I'm using for small crankbaits. I'm talking right now, got the 5/6 or quarter ounce Rapala jointed Shad Rap, as well as the 5/16 ounce DT4s is getting probably 90% of the traffic on this rod. This rod here, very parabolic, almost a 50-50 bend, which if you see these trebles are super small, that's what you need for that. Certainly not a rod I would ever consider throwing any type of bottom contact bait, let alone moving single hook bait on, just because of how much give that has to it. But for these small baits, it's perfect. I have it spooled up with my one of my two Abu Garcia Revo winch reels. Say that 10 times fast. With 10-pound Seaguar Invictus on it, perfect for this. I can also go with throwing small wake baits on this if I have to, but I do have a rod I like a little better for wake baits, and we're gonna get into that. So my next rod is Dobyns Champion XP 735 CB Glass. Now, normally this has a 6.7 to 1 rear on it, but for this springtime season, I'm throwing the second 5.4 to 1 Revo winch on this. This one's spooled with 12-pound Seaguar Invictus, a little bigger baits. I have right now a 6 cents Curve 55 round bill crankbait on there. I'll be throwing tomorrow in the river, actually. Today's the 18th of March. 2025. But anyways, the 735 CB glass, still pretty parabolic, but probably only like a 60-40 bend as opposed to that 50-50 bend with the 704. This is, in the summertime, this is my primary whopper plopper rod. Absolutely perfect for that. I can also throw a wake bait on it if I have to. And actually, depending on how the bite is, if the bite's a little better for one or the other, this is probably what rod's gonna throw either of them, just for longer casting gets in that super clear water we typically have here in the summertime. So I've had this rod for a couple years and I absolutely love it. Next up is a new addition for this year. You can see I haven't even U40 sealed it yet, but it's a Dobyns Champion XP 705 CB glass. And you're still looking about that 60-40 bend, maybe a little more stiff than the 735 just because of it being a shorter rod. This is typically, like I said, this is typically the second, either the wake bait or the whopper plopper rod. Again, depending on which one they're biting this summer. I kind of got dedicated for wake baits because there's a little more close quarters casting without the whopper plopper. And that would typically have that 5.4 to 1 Revo winch on it. But right now, I just pulled up with the 6.701 Abu Garcia Revo STX. Now, this is, in the springtime, as you see, I'm using this as a second jerkbait rod. I prefer that 6.8, 6.9 length for jerkbaits, but I can get away with 7 foot. It's just not ideal, but this time of the year, that's a big thing they're hitting on. So next up, and I have this spooled up with 12-pound. Actually, this is Sunline Supernatural monofilament, just so I'm not getting super deep because the river's not a crazy deep place, and that's what I'm throwing the top water, because this is normally what's throwing those whopper ploppers in the summertime. So DC 705 CB glass. Last rod here, and this is a very specialized rod, and this is the Dobyns Champion XP 684 CB, but not glass. They don't make the glass below 7 foot, I believe. This is my dedicated jerkbait and twitching topwater rod. I also have, this is also an STX, happens to be an 8.1 to 1. I could have probably went with 6.7 to 1, but at the time, you know, I wanted that faster gear ratio, but it still works for with these techniques. It's not really a big deal. 12-pound Sunline Supernatural monofilament on there again. And like I said, springtime, this is dedicated for jerkbaits, 100%, nothing else. And then summertime, this is either going to be my Zara Spook rod or my popper rod, depending on which one they're biting on better for topwater. Just for that short twitches, you know, works real well. Bend-wise, it's probably about that 60-40 again, just like the last two rods are. So overall, great rod. Controls the fish pretty well for a short rod. So there you have it. Those are my 6 dedicated moving bait cast rods for 2025, all Champion XPs. Absolutely love the Champion XP. It's a great rod. So do you own any of these? Are you looking to get any of these? Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. And thanks for watching.